Hello, and welcome to POMA Does, a podcast produced by the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Medical Association. We provide a voice for osteopathic medicine and share insights on issues important to osteopathic physicians, residents, and students, as well as those who embrace the osteopathic philosophy. POMA's mission is to promote the distinctive philosophy and practice of osteopathic medicine in Pennsylvania for our members and their patients. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest edition of the POMA podcast, POMA Does, presented by the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Medical Association. I'm John Kalata. I'm an osteopathic family physician in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I'm president-elect of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Medical Association. Today, we're pleased to be joined by Brenda Dill. Brenda is a POMA staff member involved in all areas of POMA, responsible for much of the production of our podcasts, but Brenda is a staff member at POMA. Brenda, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am the Senior Director of Education and Communications. I've been with the organization many years, so I've got to grow through a lot of different positions through the organization, and I do interface with most of our committees in one way or another because it's running through my areas. So
awesome.
I'm
Great.
happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. And we have Dr. Jenny.
Hi, I'm Angie Jenny. I am actually a LECOM grad, 2005. I'm a family doc who spent many years in the Air Force doing family medicine and moved back to Pennsylvania about 5 years ago and have just really been excited to start to get more involved with the state, organizations. And so I'm really happy to be part of the Physician Wellness Committee, Health and Wellness Committee. And I've had a really good time getting to know the other physicians within that group and just coming up with ideas of trying to include, residents and students and get involved with how to sort of get more balance in our lives because we all need it, right?
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Angie. And last but not least, Dr. Hans Zuckerman. Hans?
I'm Hans. I'm a family medicine physician as well, and I work in Schuylkill County, specifically in Pottsville, home of Yingling. And I've been practicing there for a little over 5 years at this point. I work for Geisinger as an employed physician, and I've been volunteering and serving on committees and on boards and everything else since pretty much the first or second year of med school. I've had quite a bit of experience and I really enjoy advocacy. So I've been fortunate to serve on the Government Affairs Committee and I'm currently its chair.
Great. Thanks, Hans. Today, we wanted to really highlight our call for volunteers. The president-elect of POMA, the position that I'm in right now, I'm blessed to be that, generally puts out a call for volunteers sometime in the spring every year. And at this time, we'd like to really talk about volunteerism and talk about the value of the volunteer in our organization. POMA is member-driven and physician-led, which is awesome. And it really helps when we have volunteers from throughout the state to really help us do the work of POMA. And I'm really excited to see Dr. Jenny and Dr. Zuckerman on the call because they've been involved on committees that have done a lot of tremendous work. And I'd just like for them to maybe just reflect for a second on the volunteers on their committees and the impact that they've had on the work that they've been doing. Angie, can you speak about that for a second?
Yeah, like I said before, I'm on the Physician Wellness Committee. So, we're part of the community pillar. So we're trying to make a community for our physicians and residents and students in a way to, like I said, sort of balance our work life. And some of the great ideas that have been coming through that committee, things like tea and mindfulness, that has been really successful. I think it's probably too late to sign up now, but we've had a great turnout for that. We had a recent wellness podcast that gave tips for, people exercising in the winter. And so people on our committee, it's a diverse group. We have people who are near retirement. We have active physicians. I'm currently in an administrative role. So we have a wide variety of students, residents, and practicing physicians. So it's a great group. We feel like there's a lot of creativity there, and we're really trying to bring the group together to come up with ideas that can just really help, again, our community. And it also has been really helpful to have the POMA staff working with us as well. Jason Leeper has sort of been keeping us on schedule and keeping track of the minutes and making sure that, our meetings are scheduled when they're supposed to be scheduled. So that's also been really helpful for us because it kind of saves on some of that behind the scenes work. So we can just show up, have our ideas, and then follow through on those ideas. So it's been really, really nice working with creative people who come up with awesome ideas and ways to just really help our community within POMA.
That's great.
And of course, just to plug our wellness activity at the upcoming assembly, we have a couple things planned. So we have a nature walk, we have some other wellness activities with Tai Chi, possibly some yoga. So more to come on that.
That's great. Angie, could you comment for just a second about the time commitment? Because I think that's one thing that a new volunteer may hesitate for a bit as far as the commitment in terms of time. We're all very busy and we have so many things going on in our lives. Could you just comment for a second about the burden or lack thereof that you found being on one of our successful committees?
Yeah, I can tell you that I am very busy, just like everyone else. I have a family. I'm very active with my community, and I run like a ton every day. I love running, and we have a running club that my husband and I work with. So we have a lot of stuff going on. And so I sometimes do hesitate to join different committees or want to become involved just because there's already so much going on. But I can tell you that, with this committee, it's really been, showing up to the meetings, which are about once a month, sometimes every other month if we don't have a lot to go over. And it really stays within that hour. And then, like I said, it's more of brainstorming, coming up with ideas. And then really the POMA staff, and of course, Dr. Kalata has also been really helpful with us, just getting those background details so that we can just really show up to the meeting, have a lot of information already ready for us. And so the commitment is really, in my experience, this is my first committee. It's been very, very doable for the type of lifestyle that we all have, which is busy, but it's been really rewarding to be able to give back to our osteopathic physicians and our group. So I think it's definitely on that balance. You're definitely getting more than you're giving, I think, in this situation.
That's great. That's great to hear. Hans, can you speak a little bit about the rewards that you have felt being a volunteer? And you volunteered in more than one venue over the last several years. Can you just comment on that for a second?
Yeah, I started doing stuff, like I said, in medical school. And to me, I really enjoy getting outside of the day-to-day clinic medicine and impacting medicine on a statewide or even a national level if you do something with like the AOA or other national organizations. And you have the opportunity to really influence health as it's done throughout so many different patients. So that's one of the reasons why I really like advocacy, because if we can impact, whether it's scope of practice issues, which we've dealt with a lot lately, prior auth reform, which we've had a big success with lately, whether it's impacting judicial elections to try and make sure that we're limiting liability issues for different physicians and their patients, you can really impact the life of so many people in a positive way that it kind of lets me expand my patient panel from just the people I see in the office to the entire state. And that's kind of a cool feeling, especially when you have successes and you get to see the impact that your work and your volunteerism does. So for me, it's exciting to be part of an effort that's pushing legislation towards a better place for all of our patients. And I really enjoy doing that.
That's great. Hans, what do you think about the diversity and the energy that the members of your committee bring? It's really great to see how engaged people are, besides getting to know people through these committees, just the work that they do. Can you talk a little bit about the value of them to your committee as you do your work?
When you're dealing with advocacy issues, you want to make sure you have a wide breadth of viewpoints. So we have people who are right out of fellowship within a year or two, and we have people that have been working in the field of medicine and in medical advocacy for 30 plus years on the committee. And it's great to have those different viewpoints, because you get a lot of things that you'll have an older physician say, we've been down this road 15 times before, this is the outcome. And then you also have some of the younger people who are like, this is the way we used to do things, but this is what's good now. We should really be focusing on these types of issues. And you see the back and forth between them and how viewpoints change. We had one addiction medicine physician come in and join, and he was really able to sway the mindset of a lot of our older physicians, and we changed what we were supporting. And POMA's been very successful lately at increasing the amount of influence that it has in Harrisburg. And one of the ways we've done that is we've chosen just a few key issues to really focus in on, instead of focusing on everything and doing everything poorly. We've done a few things really, really well and been able to really move the needle on those priorities. And it's been cool to do that. And we've instituted stuff just because we have someone come on the committee who's been really passionate about something, and we'll come together and we'll say, yeah, that's actually something that would make lives better for Pennsylvanians. Specifically in this case, it was addiction medicine related, but it could really be about anything. We have people that are part of giant, corporations, kind of like myself. I work for Geisinger. And we have private practice people, and we have, moderate groups, we have specialists, we have primary care. And so we really try to make sure that when we develop positions, we get that diverse experience of not only ages and specialties, but also practice styles, so that we really put aside our personal issues and priorities and say, okay, we're here to do what's best for osteopathic physicians in Pennsylvania. What is best for them? Which may not necessarily be what's best for me. And it's nice to see people, and it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's kind of fun to kind of take yourself out of what you do every day and say, but what's the right thing to do for everyone?
It is fun. And it's fun to see the diversity when people step up, how engaged they get.
Oh, yeah.
And it really is the more the merrier in a lot of ways, but it's the quality as well, not just the quantity. And I've been very impressed with people that have volunteered, that have really committed some time to give back.
I try to take more of a moderator role in the committee. I do threaten people that if they don't speak up, I will make all the decisions, and I'm totally fine doing that. But based on whether or not they like my politics, they may not want that to be the case. So that's been pretty effective at encouraging people to speak up. But just at our last meeting, which was last week, I took a little bit of a tally. And every member of the committee gave some type of input during the meeting, spoke up on something, had something to say about one of the 2 or 3 issues that we had. And it was really great. And to Angela's point, she's right. It doesn't really take a whole lot of time. We meet every month, and it's for 1 hour. Sometimes we run a little bit over, but generally it's about an hour, sometimes less, depends on what's on the agenda. And then the amount of preparatory work is probably really around half an hour, just making sure you're looking at some of the bills that we might discuss and educating yourself on some of the issues so you can talk about it intelligently. Doesn't take a whole lot. Andy Sandusky is the staff member who helps us out the most. He gets the agenda together. He makes sure there's links and information on there so that we know what we're talking about. And we have a great lobbying organization, Milliron Goodman, who come to all of our meetings, give us updates, tell us how things are going. It's really interesting to get kind of the behind the scenes picture of what's going on. And yeah, if you're interested in volunteering, that's enough to just say, yeah, go ahead and do it, because it's not going to take that much of your time. And if you have the interest, then you're going to get the rewarding experience that you're looking for.
That's great. Brenda, you've been involved in many different areas of POMA and many different committees. And I think the one thing that the 3 of us on this call at least can attest to is the support that staff gives us. When I have a question or when I'm anxious about something, I'll pick up the phone or shoot a text, and my blood pressure automatically goes down then, particularly on days when there's a meeting or there's a committee that we have to talk about or an issue. Can you just talk for a minute about some of the things that staff does to support us? Because I think that, again, not only the time commitment, but the concern that we won't get the support we need when we're volunteering. Can you just speak briefly on that?
Yeah, we've really tried to provide all the administrative support that we can to just alleviate the burdens, to keep track of your minutes, to keep track of even getting in touch with your committee members. Some don't respond well, and we're able to get a hold of them. We're able to track your resources from a financial standpoint, as well as just knowing what else other committees are doing from a staff perspective. We can identify the overlaps and help alleviate some of the committees that get stuck kind of running their wheels, and 2 committees might be doing the exact same projects. So we're able to jump in and be like, well, it's probably better off in this committee so that the other one can concentrate on another priority that they have. And I think that we just work best when we have the direction from the committee, when they have goals and charges and projects that they have already set up and ready to go. We're able to just run with it and make your dreams, make your projects happen. And of course, it always comes back to the committee for the blessing and approvals. It's a cooperative relationship, but we try to get as much of that administrative burden off of the physicians and the volunteers that are dedicating their time to us.
Yeah, we are just so grateful for all of that, because we really sometimes don't have the time, and we do get crunched as far as time. And that phone call to you guys, even in real time, hey, can you text so-and-so, see if they're picking up. It's really been great. The bottom line really is we need you. We need all the volunteers that we can get, and expressing an interest in whatever you might be interested in, being as specific as you might want to be, has been very valuable. I know, Hans, your passion is for advocacy, and Angie, yours has been health and wellness. And it was nice because it's been a nice fit for not just you, but for the members of your committee, because their area of interest were served best by being involved, and then the committees were served well by them. So that reciprocal relationship has been wonderful. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that there's so many different committees that are available that you can find something that really fits your interests. And it may be not something that you don't do in your daily, career, but it's something that you have a passion for, or something that you're really interested in or want to know more about. And it's like a perfect place to sort of start looking for those things is in one of these committees. And like I said, it's just really rewarding to see sort of what comes at the end of everything. And, maybe you can help, the state of Pennsylvania, or you can help one physician who feels, overwhelmed and stressed, and how to sort of deal with that. So I think that if you look at the options to volunteer, there's so many choices, and that you'll find something that will really pique your interest and that you can really contribute to.
You can really kind of see POMA as a venue for what you're passionate about. Whether it's advocacy or wellness or any type of volunteerism, POMA probably has a committee that relates to it, through one of the influence pillars. If you're really into, medical education, there's so many different ways to get involved that if you're really passionate about something, but you don't know how to get involved, use POMA and do it through them. It's a great way to do it. They've got all the resources. If one of the committees tries to do something, it's not like you have to do it yourself. That's what we have paid staff members for. If you're going to do a bake sale, it's not like in medical school where you got to get the poster board and, put up the flyers and email people and then bake the goods yourself and then sell them and collect the money and deposit in the bank. Hey, we got people that do all of that. So it's really nice to sit back, make decisions. We do most of the meetings over, Zoom like this. And then we have people who take the ball and run. And it's been really great to have some input. Doesn't take a lot of the time. It's very rewarding. And I get the opportunity to meet some really cool people that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Great. Brenda, just before we close, I'd like to ask you to comment about the process, the call for volunteers, how a physician who's interested in volunteering might sign up. And remember, this is all of our members, including our resident members, and we oftentimes often ask some students to be involved in our committees. Could you just speak for a minute about how someone might want to join up as a volunteer?
Sure. Yeah, we publish the call for volunteers via email. Probably has gone out 3 times now since the week in between Christmas and New Year's. That's an easy way that has links embedded in it with a list of opportunities for committee volunteerism, as well as some of the charges of the committees, just to help provide additional information on the background. There's also a link to sign up, and basically you just go through and click what your interests and talents are and where those may be best suited for the organization, and basic contact information. So we have an individual email blast. There's going to be a couple more coming out before the end of the month. We include it in our newsletters. We put it on social media. It's all the major platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. So pretty available for everybody to access. It's on the website as well. And really, if you know somebody, it's your word of mouth. It's you talking with your colleagues and people that that you think would be a good fit. And it's anywhere from the student level on up. So it's wide open to any POMA member.
It has been kind of fun when you pick up the phone and say, hey, can you do something with a fellow member? And they say yes. It's really gratifying, particularly like yesterday at noon when we picked up the phone and called Hans and Angie, and they said yes. And this came together quite nicely for tonight. And thank you all for being here, Brenda, Dr. Jenny, Dr. Zuckerman. Thanks so much. Any last words for the crew?
I would say that this has been a lot of fun. The more involved you get with POMA, the more opportunities there are, the more discussions you have, the more you learn, the more you can impact different people, patients, other physicians. It's been a really fun journey so far, and I'm just happy to still be here.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. That was perfect.
Great.
I agree.
Well, thanks so much, everybody. Thanks again for listening. Please join us again next time on the POMA podcast, POMA Does. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us for this edition of POMA Does. Be sure to subscribe to POMA Does wherever you listen to your podcasts, and tell your friends and colleagues to tune in. Learn more about osteopathic medicine and POMA on our webpage, www.poma.org, and join the conversation on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, or email us at POMA@POMA.org. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time for another edition of POMA Does.